It's a pleasure. Thank you, Lauren, for inviting me. So hi guys. So my name is Lawrence Davis. I'm from the Money and Pension Service, MaPS, as we'll be referring through things today. Just give a bit of a background to who we are, what we can offer people. You know, the free service, everything we do, okay, at the Money and Pension Service, Money Helper, totally free. I'll give you a bit of a background on who we are in a bit. Okay, so I guess that's the first thing then, with regards to MaPS, the Money and Pension Service. Hopefully some of you have heard of us, you know, but set up probably about 5 years ago. We're an arm's length body of the government of DWP, and we've got a joint commitment with them to ensure that financial well-being, financial literacy is increased across the UK, and my role as the partnership manager within Wales as well. One of the main reasons why MaPS really was set up, because we've seen government realise, you know what, financial literacy in the UK, in Wales, is not doing as good as comparing to other countries, especially if you're comparing against the Scandinavian countries. They're really leading the way. So that's why we want to boost, increase financial knowledge, financial literacy, financial well-being as well. One way we do that, of course, is by our free consumer service, Money Helper, Helper Arian, and I'll take you through that later on in ways that can help people. And that is the only reason why we exist, is just to help people, to be honest with you. And especially those who really need it, okay? Those maybe in need. You can imagine maybe if someone is more financial literate, if they've got access to help from like financial advisors, solicitors and things like that, they may be a bit more sorted. We really want to focus on those people. Where do they go for information? Where do they go for help? We want kind of Money Helper to be that one place for that free, impartial information that people can turn to for that trusted information as well. Now, within MaPS, the Money and Pension Service, we deliver these kind of the financial guidance and support across our 5 core functions, okay? The clue's in the name, you know, the Money and Pension Service. So obviously, we provide money guidance. You know, we want to make sure that people understand, you know, financial matters, help them plan day to day, dealing with money management skills, looking towards the future. That's where pension guidance comes in. We've got another webinar on Thursday dedicated just about pensions. So if you want to tune in for that as well. But pension guidance, we help people with any queries when it comes to pensions, be it their personal, workplace pensions, debt advice. And that's a key thing there. Where do people go for debt advice? You know, nobody should pay for debt advice. Okay, that should all be available for free. In England, MaPS, Money and Pension Service, we provide debt advice directly to consumers in England. It's a devolved issue. So in Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, people can get debt information, but we point people, so we can, you know, we signpost people where to find impartial, good, free debt advice. Consumer protection, that's another one of our core functions, increasingly so as well. You can't turn on the news or the radio these days without hearing about financial scams, crimes going on. So we work with government, we work with the FCA to help protect consumers, what to watch out for as well. Because things like, you know, the AI genie, that's well and truly out of the bottle now. So what to watch out for there. And then strategies, of course. You know, we're working with Lauren, working with WGSCs and other organizations just to build up strategies about developing financial well-being. How can organizations help their staff, you know, signpost where to go for information, and working with government as well, just to help develop, you know, a greater level of financial well-being within the nation as well. Now, we're talking about financial well-being. It's all well and good. Now, this is our kind of definition, really, you know, about people making them. We'd all love to have more money. Obviously, we would, okay? But it's just knowing what to do, how to deal with the money we've already got day to day, dealing with those unexpected kind of issues that crop up, and ideally being on track for that healthy future for ourselves, because we want people to be more financially resilient, maybe less reliance, you know, on the state and things like that, be confident with what people are doing, and really to empower them to make the best decisions for themselves as well. And as I said, one way that we do that is by our free service called that Helper Arian, Money Helper, which we'll talk about the tools, the calculators available on this website. Now, one thing, look, I can't do justice to this Money Helper website during, a 10, 15-minute presentation. Yes, I'm biased as well, but this website really is a fantastic, source of information. We cover everything really from, talking to kids about pocket money all the way to pensions and everything in between as well. So have a go. So later on today, whatever, have a go. Have a look around the website. All the fantastic tools and resources are available there as well. And when you go into it, you can see all the kind of the main topics along the top there. You click into it, it would bring drop-down boxes. You can do search facilities. And as you're going through the website, if something, they think, oh, do you want a bit more information about that? You could always just click talk to us, and it would bring up a relevant telephone number that you can contact for money guidance, for pension guidance, for financial scams and crimes, anything really. And we pride ourselves. Yes, at times of the year, we're going to be busy. Things like leading up to the end of the tax year, towards maybe March, the phone lines are very busy. A couple of weeks ago with the budget, things were very busy then. But we do pride ourselves. If someone rings up and there's a queue, if you leave us a message, we guarantee to ring you back. Could be different to maybe other, government organizations sometimes, but we pride ourselves on doing that. Today's focus, as Lauren kind of invited me today, just to talk about maybe savings, investments, planning a bit towards the future as well. Thursday's topic will be dedicated to pensions, but today mainly focusing on savings and investments, what to watch out for. Now, the key thing, are we saving enough? If I was to ask each one of you individually, well, what about how much we are saving, things like that, I'd probably get totally different answers from everyone. To be expected as well, It's all to do with our kind of goals. That's the key thing, affordability is such a key factor as well. Are we doing for the short term, the longer term, maybe pension planning? What do we expect? The unexpected when those emergencies arise as well, and then what tools have we got to help us, guide, just to kind of give us more information about what's out there and what we can help with as well. Now, one thing I'd say, Money and Pension Service, whilst there's so much free information and guidance we can provide, legally, we're not allowed to tell people, look, this is the best option for you. Go with company X because they offer the best rate on the market, or go with company Y, they are the best customer service. We can't say that because we're not regulated to do that. We're totally impartial, okay? We're a government organization, so we can't favor one company or one product over another. It'll be clear sometimes when people contact us, they are in need of maybe, good financial advice, regulated financial advice, and they don't know where to get that. So we do have a tool on the Money Helper website where you can put in your postcode and it'll bring up a list of regulated financial advisors in your area, and then you can pick one that's applicable to yourself and what kind of information you want. I would always say, look, don't go for the first one. Always at least choose, go for a handful of these financial advisors. And one tip, they all offer, the first meeting free of charge. Okay, so you can get loads of information. If you phone a number of them within that kind of first meeting, which is free, you get a lot of information there. And then it's up to you then if you want to go further with them. Okay. If you're looking for legal advice, the Law Society, they've got a similar kind of search function on their website. The links are there for you. So I would urge you for just going for, just making sure that you contact regulated good advisors and legal advisors as well. Okay. So I guess, why should we be saving money? I mean, the key thing is, saving money. I'm sure a lot of you know all this anyway, okay? But saving money is essential for that, financial. It's a financial habit, really. It provides security. It gives us flexibility and maybe the ability to achieve personal goals as well. And financial experts, they do recommend that we save for things like, shorter term for emergencies, longer term for retirement, and goals we're trying to achieve as well. Okay. Now, one thing, some of the statistics of here, for example, in Wales, financial well-being in Wales, we've seen that over half of people, they don't have, for example, a plan for their finances in retirement. A lot of people still think, well, the state, or they'll look after me, I don't have to worry about that. Just on that, the state pension alone, the maximum at the moment is about £11,500 a year if someone's retiring today. Could someone live on that? It could be a bit of a meager retirement if you're just solely relying on the state there. Again, nearly half of people, they don't feel confident in planning for their future as well. And we've seen nearly a third of people, they've got less than £300 worth of savings, and they can't maybe pay those unexpected bills that do crop up, especially as we're going into winter time, things like boiler breaking down, maybe a storm, the roof repairs and things like that. Okay. But where do people go? Just to help them kind of manage their money. That's what we want to develop, the Money Helper, that free information that's there for people. So we know some of the benefits of savings. Life is unpredictable, of course. We've got, as we've said, unexpected expenses can arise. We've got maybe car repairs, home repairs, or job losses as well, unfortunately. And an emergency fund that can ensure people are maybe financially equipped to handle those situations, without relying on maybe lending money, going into debt as well. And also saving allows people to kind of work towards financial goals they may have. Maybe if they want to buy, a home, starting a business, going traveling, going further education as well. It gives them the resources to make sometimes their dreams their reality as well. And that's maybe one thing younger people, maybe they're losing track of saving as a way to achieve a goal. It's a lot of kind of buy now, pay later kind of mentality coming into it as well. Which was something my parents, instilled in me, in that saving kind of, methodology as well. Financial, stability through savings can also help with anxiety and improves our mental well-being as well, because we feel less overwhelmed by financial pressures, and we've already said about saving for retirement, less reliance on the state, more kind of money in our pocket from private savings as well. But there's obviously a lot of barriers towards savings now as well, rising costs of essentials like, housing costs are going up, energy costs are always going up, food costs compared to the pre-pandemic levels, they're really more expensive these days. And that leaves less room for us to save these days, especially maybe on those on static incomes, for example, especially when earnings, sometimes barely covers our expenses a lot of the time. There could be little or nothing left to save. Again, it makes it difficult to kind of build up maybe an emergency fund for those unexpected events. Also, people using debt, maybe high interest debt, that also consumes, a lot of people, proportions of someone's income as well, leaving little room to save as well. Budgeting, that's the key thing as well. Without people understanding budgeting, saving strategies, what help is, what they can do, or maybe not understanding the benefits of compound interest as well. Obviously, the earlier we start, the knock-on effects as well. People may not be able to prioritize their saving or know how to save effectively. That's hopefully we've got some hints and tips on the Money Helper website. And of course, a lack of sometimes motivation, someone's hesitating, financial anxiety, as we've said. Again, these things can prevent us taking those first steps towards saving as well. So some guidance in there. Some emergency financial experts say that we should ideally aim for around 3 to 6 months worth of our salary as living expenses for those emergencies. For some, that's a lot of money, okay? It's not always achievable. Even 1 month is better than nothing, of course, okay? I typically, for myself, I follow, my father instilled in me the 50-30-20 rule, where half of my income, goes for things like needs, really, like housing, food, utilities, the kids, for example. 30% then I keep for kind of wants, the entertainment, bit of travel, my hobbies as well. And I try then about 20% put that aside for maybe savings or sometimes debt repayment as well for loans and stuff like that. So I try and follow that 50, 30, 20 rule. It's not always kind of easy, of course, but that's kind of the broad rule of thumb that I personally try and follow. But having a clear savings target, a goal specific as well, that always help. If you're looking maybe saving, as an example, £5,000 for maybe a holiday in a few years' time. That gives you that kind of a goal. It keeps you motivated as well to try and save for the future as well. So just something there. But with Money Helper, some of the tools, hints and tips that we've got loads of these available on the Money Helper website. We've got the savings calculator, can help you. You can use all these calculators and tools totally free. You can plan and help you project savings based on your goals there. We've got a really popular budget planner, which allows you to put in all your income and outgoings, and that'll give you a good indication of what you have got left to maybe help you try and save or invest for something else. And you can download that budget planner onto your own laptop, onto your own PC, via an Excel spreadsheet, and you can keep it going then for the longer term as well. And we've got more articles, hints and tips on, as I said, those emergency, how much should we be saving as well. Okay, so loads of information, as I said, on the Help and the Money Helper website. So with savings then, it's a disciplined financial habit, that does require kind of consistency, planning and patience. But the main purpose of savings compared to investments, as we come on to know, it is more kind of shorter term, maybe building up that emergency fund. There's typically less risk when it comes to a savings policy, a savings account, compared to maybe an investment product, because your money is typically secure as long as you choose, as we come on to later on, a regulated provider there. Returns, though, are probably lower than from investments as well. Yes, you've got sometimes get higher interest accounts. Maybe you're restricted as to how much you can pay into it each month as well. But think about the interest rate that you are getting on your savings. If, for example, inflation is higher than that interest rate, over time, the value of your money will be eroded over time because inflation does eat into that as well. Access those, typically with savings, you get easier access to your savings when you need it for those emergencies or for that particular goal. So things like you've heard of cash ISAs, individual savings accounts, or regular savings accounts with your bank, with your building societies. There's loads of different types out there as well. More information about all these different types, as I said, on the Money Helper website. Okay. Now, coming on to investments then, I guess the other kind of side of the coin, really. Investments are where, things that you put your money into, like stocks and shares, for example, or bonds or properties, commodities, with the goal, the sole goal of increasing the value of that money over time. So hopefully seeing that money grow into the future. So it's about that longer term strategy, longer term wealth growth to achieve certain, longer term financial goals. Okay, so different to savings there. Ideally, by investing, we would like to see money, hopefully at least keeping pace with inflation, but hopefully beating inflation at least. Investments can help you save for those bigger milestones, as we said, maybe like buying a home, financial education for the future, for children, for example, retiring comfortably, hopefully, adding growth over time. But as we come on to later on, with investments, there's always a risk that investments can go down as well as up, of course. So that's one thing to bear in mind there compared to maybe typical savings. So you mentioned the types of savings, stocks and shares. That's probably a lot we've heard about, where you buy ownership in maybe in a company. So you do get potential over the longer term for higher returns. But there could be fluctuations in the value of your investments there. So that's why it is that longer term when you're buying kind of stocks and shares for governments. Bonds and gilts, effectively, these are loans that you make to either the government or to big companies. And in return, they pay you a regular income. And then the amount that you've loaned them as that investment, hopefully you get that back at the end as well, but it can fluctuate. There's no guarantees as well. These bonds and gilts tend to be a lower risk profile than with stocks and shares in companies as well. You've also got things like mutual funds or exchange traded funds as well, where you buy kind of, buy investment products as well off the market as well. They're pooled investment products. It can give a bit more diversification for someone's strategy as well. Again, you could argue maybe a bit less risk on this again, but making sure that you understand those risks, understand that they can go up, they can go down as well. A lot of people invest in property, for example. We have seen property over the longer term, go up in value as well. So investing in things like it can give rental income, the actual cost of the unit can appreciate in value as well. So again, property, but maybe you need a lot of money to outlay to invest in property initially. Things like commodities as well, gold, oil, orange juice, for example. There's loads of various ways that you can invest in tangible assets as well. Again, increasing diversity as well by doing different types of investments. But as we said, there is more risks when it comes to investments. We need to understand that. We need to be happy knowing the risks there as well, because we've seen market volatility. World events can have a big say on things as well. We've ongoing now things like the new president in the US coming in, affecting certain aspects of the stock market, for example. War, farming, weather events can have an effect on market volatility, on prices as well. Understanding loss of capital. If you are investing somewhere, can you afford to lose that money? That's the key kind of thing, question to ask yourself, because as we've said, investments can go up, they can go down. Inflation risk as well. We've seen inflation over the last couple of years. Yes, it's come down now, but it was running very high. So eroding the value of people's money. So making sure that, does your investments at least match inflation there? And then when you do invest somewhere, like, for example, property, the liquidity, how do you sell property? How do you sell a certain asset later on? Just think, how easy is it to release money from those investments as well? So think, when would you want access to that money? Think liquidity there as well, okay? So I guess these are the general key principles of investing. The earlier that we start, we've seen the compound nature of investing. The earlier we start, we're going to get more later on, because obviously the interest adds up. Diversify. Obviously, don't have all your eggs in one basket, obviously, because things are correlated differently. We don't want everything going up and down at the same rate. For example, make sure that you understand what type of person are you yourself. Could you afford to lose a certain amount of money? What are you investing for? Making sure that you're comfortable with that. Have goals, set your own goals, making sure that you regularly assess your situation as well. And as I said, when it comes to investments, if you're not 100% certain on anything, maybe it would be good to get, good regulated financial advice from somebody you trust as well, who can provide that information, who can design a portfolio based on your particular situation as well, okay? And sometimes start small. Once you understand how things work, then you can go into it a bit more detail later on as well. But the key thing, wherever you are investing, because there's so many sharks out there, okay, make sure that whatever you're investing, they are and this goes for savings as well, making sure that they are regulated by the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority. You can check anyone out on the FCA register. There's a link there for you, okay? So register.fca.org.uk. I'll send a copy of these slides out for you after today's presentation as well. But always check that they are regulated, because that gives you protection. You know, your rights are safeguarded if things go wrong. You can have dispute resolution. You can get access to help from the likes of FOS, the Financial Ombudsman Service, the Financial Services Compensation Scheme, and the FCA would be on your side there. But for example, you probably have heard of things like investing in cryptocurrency. At the moment in the UK, that is an unregulated investment. Okay, it's a form of investment, don't get me wrong, but it's at the moment it's unregulated. So when something goes wrong with those types of unregulated investments, you're on your own. There's no one there to help you out. By choosing regulated investment savings, you do get help if that worse happens. That gives you that peace of mind as well. So just to kind of highlight again, differences between savings and investments. I guess savings is really for the shorter term goals, much lower risk, and you get easier access to savings as well. Things like savings accounts and ISAs, cash ISAs. Investments are usually more for the longer term kind of strategies. They do have higher risks to them. Understanding those, there is the flip side, that greater potential for growth with investments as well, but usually they comes with limited access. Examples would be there, you know, in investing in the stock market, for example. So with Money Helper then, so I would urge you, have a go at Money Helper. We've got so many tools and resources, calculators on the Money Helper website, all available in English and in Welsh. It's all bilingual, okay? So have a go at it. I've just highlighted some bits here which may be of use to people, okay? So for example, we've already mentioned the savings calculator. So you can have a go at that. Helps you maybe save towards a particular goal. We've got a very popular, as I said, that budget planner. It allows you to input your details, your income, your outgoings. It'll allow you then to kind of focus the mind on, have I got some money left over to maybe save or to invest in certain places. We've got a great, I'll touch upon this on Thursday in more depth, but we've got a really fantastic pension calculator. We've said about saving for the longer term. With our pension calculator, you can input how much you're saving currently into your pension scheme, how much your employer is paying in, what age you'd like to retire. It feeds things in like the state pension as well, and it gives you a good indication of what level of income you would be on track for at your particular chosen age as well. When it comes to that, when you're thinking towards the future, this is very interesting kind of research carried out by Loughborough University into this. And they've kind of come up with this figure that as a single person, we will need around £14,400 to cover the general expenditure after we've retired. This is the minimum, to cover the minimum bits, okay? So do you remember I said at the start that the state pension is only £11,500. So you can see there's straight away, there's a bit of a gap there. There's nearly a £3,000 gap there straight away. So again, the more we can save for the future, the better off we will be. So have a look at that great website, retirementlivingstandards.org.uk. Loads more information there on that as well, okay? But again, going back to the Money Helper website, there's loads of hints and tips. As we've said, how much should we be trying to save, you know, to cover those emergencies? You can join Facebook groups on the Money Helper website to see what hints and tips peers have got as well. So again, being part of a community there. There's information on the different types of savings. It's loads of information. As I said, I can't do justice, you know, to the Money Helper website there as well. And when it comes to investments, there's a great beginner's guide. If someone wants to kind of dip their toes into investments, what to watch out for, how to get started. So there really is, you know, a wealth of information available there on the Money Helper website. And you can download free guides, free booklets as well on really anything to do with money and pensions there, okay? And again, if you know of other people who maybe and needed some help, there's all these tools are available for free on the Money Helper website. Some examples then of there's free money out there for people, okay? You may have heard of an initiative called Help to Save at the moment. Now, this is for people who are struggling. So maybe those who are receiving tax credits or universal credit, for example, they can save up to £50 a month into one of these Help to Save accounts. It's capped at 4 years, so they can save £50 a month for 4 years, which is £2,400. And after those 4 years, the government would give a bonus of 50 pence for every pound that they save. So they could get £1,200 free from the government via the Help to Save initiative. So that's an example of what's out there. Also, child trust funds. Some of you may have children. You may know people who've had children between those dates. So kids born between September 2002 and January 2011, they would have had, or the carers, their parents would have had a voucher to set up a child trust fund. £250 initially. I think there was an extra amount, extra £250 paid as well. I think in Wales especially, for children born earlier on during that window. But say if the carers or the parents didn't do anything with those vouchers, the government would have automatically set up a child trust fund in that child's name. So we're now seeing those kids, previous kids, they're turning into young adults now, of course. And there's billions of pounds worth of these child trust funds going unclaimed. So have a look. If you know someone who may have been, had one of these child trust funds, they've lost track of it, have a look. We've got an article how to find them on the Money Helper website. You can also go to the gov.uk website as well. There's loads more information there. We want people to claim what they are entitled to, of course, what's out there for them. And of course, any financial presentation, we can't do it. Watch out. As I said, there are sharks out there, okay? When it comes to money, there'll be always someone wanting to kind of rip us off or, wanting to just to steal our money. It's now moved online, from the old kind of bank robberies, it's now all online. Everyone wants to get hold of our money. Things like if you're contacted out of the blue, with regards to pensions, for example, it's actually illegal for anyone to contact you out of the blue about your pensions, okay? If people do, you can report them to the Information Commissioner's Office and they can investigate things for you. This is your money at the end of the day. Don't let anyone force you into making a quick decision. Or if someone's guaranteeing you really high investment returns, you've got to think, well, is that too good to be true? That is the key thing, the message there, right? If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Just take 24 hours on things, think about it, don't rush into anything. One-off investments, again, a lot of risk comes with that. As I said, check them out on the FCA register, take time, contact us for any kind of questions or queries. If you've got concerns about anything, we've got a dedicated financial crimes and scams helpline as well that you can contact us on as well, okay? But as I said, we do cover everything from pocket money all the way to pensions. You can get that personalized help when you need it via the phone. We offer web chat, WhatsApp, Facebook, or the standard email as well. And for example, we've got loads of ex-retired financial advisors now working at Money Helper who can give that impartial information that you need. And if we can't obviously tell you where to invest, where to save money, we can signpost you where to find the best information there as well. So again, just some of our contact details there, all available, as I said, on the Money Helper website. And that was it from me. So please, any questions anyone may have, fire them off.
No question, please. Can you hear me at all?
I'll just stop sharing now. I can see the chat now. Oh, Warren, yes, go on, Warren.
Sorry, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so I've been directed towards the company called Plum in regard to doing personal investment.
Right.
Have you heard of them? Have you heard of them?
Did you say Plum?
Yeah, PLUM.
Right. Okay. I've heard of them. Yes.
And what are your, well, that I'm asking you for investment advice. Are they a valid sort of? They look very valid, and my friend is very happy with them. I just wondered, you're saying then about. The concern is I'm not dealing with a bank directly, and the middleman, or it seems to be like a middleman. How I understand it. What are your thoughts on those kind of?
Well, I mean, dealing with a middleman, I mean, are you paying for someone's services with that, with a middleman, for example? Do they class themselves as a financial advisor, and are they regulated? Have you checked them out? Are their status, for example?
I haven't done that kind of detail yet. That's what to check for then. Is it obviously the regulation and
I've heard of Plum, obviously. I've never dealt with them, so I can't really comment on how good they are, how safe they are they regulated, okay? But that's the key thing we would urge. First of all, how did you find out about them? You know, how did that come around? Was it an introduction out of the blue? Did you do some research into it yourself? What kind of policies do they offer? Do they match your requirements, your goals? Then, obviously, check out, right, are they regulated? What protections would you have if something happened to them? Is it an investment? Is it a savings type product? Are they covered by the FSCS Financial Services Compensation Scheme, which typically would protect people up to £85,000, okay? So I'll put a link to that FCA register in the chat. So have a go, check them out as a minimum on that register, okay? So that will give you a bit more peace of mind exactly who you're dealing with. And once you've done a bit of those, a bit more research yourself, if you've still got questions, then give us a ring back with more specific questions on that money guidance helpline as well. So we can talk you through that as well, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
So I put that in the chat there now. So register.fca.org.uk. Question, the regulation process. So yes, if someone wants to be regulated, they have to kind of, first of all, contact the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority, make an application, then the work starts. The FCA would look into them and ensure that they meet the requirements to be regulated, because they have to jump over so many different hoops to become registered, to be regulated. And obviously by becoming regulated, that's when the FCA, the other government organizations then would then, consider protection for consumers then if something happens, as long as they are regulated. There we are. Well, if there aren't any other questions, I mean, Thursday's webinar will be dedicated just about pensions. So again, feel free to kind of dial in for that. But otherwise, was anything else? There we are. It's been